Hi, everyone. Welcome to Morning Matcha. I'm here today with holistic nutritionist and cleanse expert, Elissa Goodman. Hi, Elissa.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. Good to see you.
Nice to see you too, and thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to learn more about your story and what you're here to share with everyone.
I love doing this. This is really what fills me up.
Yeah, I know. I feel the same. I feel like we're in such a digital age and we're behind our screens all the time, and having the opportunity to really sit with someone and ask questions and chat is just so sacred now. And I really cherish it so much more because we don't get to do that all the time.
I know. The connection.
Yeah.
Just
so nice.
that intimate connection instead of doing it via social media or texting, right?
I know.
Email.
Nowadays it's like, oh, I can't make it. It's like too much traffic. Can we just Skype? And I'm like, no, we can't just Skype. Like, I need to see you.
Here.
Yeah. And I know you have your show as well, right?
Yeah.
Did you just recently start that?
Yeah, I've been kind of dabbling with it for 6 months, and it's programmed at this place called Focus TV in West Hollywood.
Cool.
And I interview people who are game changers in the wellness arena. So all different kinds of modalities that can help heal people. And it's like they interview them for 20 minutes and it goes up on my YouTube channel. It's really fun.
Yeah. Well, I'm really excited to hear more about your story. And I'm sure every day you say the same, you share the same story, but I'm sure it gets really old. But for our audience and for me, I read a little bit about Hodgkin's lymphoma and how that really changed your life. And I want to learn a little more about what was going on before and what was your life like before, getting diagnosed.
Well, in a nutshell, I came into the world with not a great, strong immune system. When I was a little kid, I had to I remember I had a low red blood cell count, so I had to get blood shots. And then I got tonsillitis and strep throat, and I got chicken pox and mono and shingles and digestive issues. So I was not a healthy kid. I was consistently sort of behind the 8 ball. And also my parents were really successful and motivated and just out in the world a lot and getting so much done. And here I was, not feeling well, always tired.
Yeah.
Just really not being able to keep up. So
did you feel that way too about yourself? Like you were, something was wrong with you?
Yeah. I was labeled the sick kid. Aww. And so I was always sick, and it was really crappy. But I didn't really, that was all I knew, I didn't really know any different until later in my life. But I just followed in their footsteps, fast pace, drove myself into the ground, moved to New York after I graduated college, lived a very fast paced life, lots of partying, lots of just bad choices and habits. It was very addicted to sugar and caffeine, which we were talking about, which I still a little am addicted to caffeine.
Yeah. We all are.
But but during this process, I was dabbling in reading books about nutrition or going to holistic healers, or, I was trying to see if maybe somewhere deep inside in my gut or my intuition, I was like, life has to be better.
Yeah.
This is not really, and I wasn't happy. I wasn't I was anxious, sleep deprived. So when I read about all these things that it did correlate those two, I tried to dabble in it myself, but it was tricky. And when I was growing up, my mom went to a health ranch called Rancho La Puerta. It's in Tecate, Mexico.
Cool.
And in those days, it was kind of a fat farm or a
boot camp.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or a dry out, even a dry out place, I think, in the early days.
What's a dry out?
Like alcohol.
Alcohol. Sobering up.
Sobering up. Yeah. So they meditated, they did yoga, they grew all their own food, they exercised, you were off the grid for 7 days. You had to go for 7 days, Saturday to Saturday. She took a group of women twice twice a year because she had really bad asthma. So like from maybe 16 to 25, I went with her like 5 times.
Oh my gosh.
So
cool.
I know it wasn't cool at the time.
You didn't want to go?
Absolutely not. Like I wanted to be home with my friends and partying and not with these old women at this health ranch. But I think that I got to see these women change in 7 days. My mom didn't need her asthma medication as much. The women went depressed and anxious. They weren't as anxious or depressed by the end of it. They were so much happier. They were sleeping. They lost weight. It was wild. So I must have like seen some of that. So when I moved to LA from New York, and my husband was from Queens, so he like had never been to LA, never seen the Pacific Ocean.
Wow.
And I said to him, we're moving west, and he thought we were moving to New Jersey. I
Oh
was
my
like,
God.
okay, that's fine. I'm like, no, the West Coast. And when I moved out here, I think it was that instinct in me, like, I have to get healthier. I'm not going to get healthy in New York for some reason with this life. And he wanted to move out of the city and commute in. So when we moved out, Mrs. Gooch's, Beverly Hills Juice was here. And so I started dabbling in that. I mean, at that time I had just gotten diagnosed with the cancer.
Did you get diagnosed in LA?
Yeah.
It was almost like your body like held
on till I got here.
Yeah.
I know. It's really interesting. I'm not sure. Like I've never thought about that, but it could be. It was like I finally got to a place where
you could handle it or you could figure it out.
Yep.
That's so cool.
And I went to 3 doctors when I was diagnosed. I didn't have any symptoms.
What is Hodgkin's lymphoma?
It's lymphatic cancer. So it's like when the lymphatic system is not, moving properly and detoxing toxins out of the body.
Wow.
So it's a bit stagnant.
So it's like all over your body then? Or is it stuck in certain lymph
nodes. So it starts in some of the lymph nodes and it doesn't, just depending on where in the body. Everybody's different. Mine was on my collarbone. So when I was getting massaged one day and I was sitting up, she was massaging my neck and my collarbone and she found a lymph node on my collarbone. And she goes, you're not supposed to have a swollen lymph node there. You can have one on your neck because that's fighting infection, but on your collarbone, that's not okay. So go get that checked out.
Wow.
And the first doctor I went to, he just felt it. And he's like, oh my God, that's cancer.
Wow.
And I was like, what? It was so scary because like when you hear that word, you think you're going to die.
Yeah. Especially how long ago was that?
25 years.
I feel
especially
like
then. So much has happened since then. Yeah. But so then I went to 3 doctors and I did have it taken out and it was an early stage of Hodgkin's lymphoma. And I went to 3 doctors and the first 2 scared the living daylights out of me. Because they were like, you're going to have to freeze your eggs because I hadn't had kids. You're going to have to do chemo, radiation. They asked me if I had a donor because I might have to do a transplant.
Oh my gosh.
And I was just like,
transplant of what?
Of cells, of stem cells.
Wow.
So it was so awful. The way they treat you, the fear factor they put in you. And I was already living in a fear-based mode. Mm-hmm. That's, I think, a big part of why we get cancer.
Yeah.
When you're in fear-based mode or you're in fight or flight continually. Mm-hmm. And that was me in a nutshell. So the 3rd doctor said to me, it's an early stage. Let's talk about your life. Are you stressed?
Wow.
You look really unhappy. And I had just landed a dream job. I was working for Vogue magazine, the advertising business.
Wow.
But it was not a dream job.
No,
it was awful. It was like Devil Wears Prada.
But what you thought was a dream job. Wow.
Yeah, I did. I just, I got seduced. Myself, I got seduced into it. And then he's like, we could take care of this without, going down the hardcore drug route. So you'll probably need like radiation, but let's, talk about not doing chemo. And so, I burst into tears when I was with him. He was so ahead of his time in terms of asking me what my stress level was and how I slept and
was
how I ate.
Was he an alternative doctor?
No,
or
he was just a radiologist, oncologist at St. John's. I didn't end up being treated by him, but I found someone else who was closer to where I lived. And I did half of the radiation that the oncologist had recommended, no chemo. And that's when I started juicing and I became vegan, and I started doing yoga. And I started trying to meditate, and I read every self-help book that were known to man, and went to an acupuncturist and did colonics. And
well, I find that so incredible that finally you made that change, because I think when we're stuck at a crossroads, we were just talking about this. You can go two ways. You can either go like super extreme into the pain and not really deal with it, or make a difference. And not everyone does that. So that's amazing. Right. But I also think about how in our wellness world right now, people can get super extreme and like it's never enough anymore. It's like, I need to do this. And it's like a checklist of all the things you need to do to like check off your morning routine in order to start your day. And it can take until like 3 p.m. And it's like, wow,
so true.
I have to put this lotion on, or like this oil, these essential oils, and do all these things. But it's so amazing. And I just find that like find a few things and just stick to that. But at that time for you, how do you balance wanting to, like getting out of that fear based by doing meditation and acupuncture and stuff, but then not getting overwhelmed by all the other healing modalities that you could do? I mean, did you ever find yourself overwhelmed?
Very overwhelmed. Yeah, because it's like I'm already scared shitless, basically, about all of this. And you're really still not sure that you might not pass away at some point, or that if it goes away, it'll come back, and all of those things. So I was incredibly overwhelmed. So I went into therapy then to try to reduce the overwhelmed feeling. I mean, my life was I overwhelmed myself, in my life. So that's a huge thing.
Yeah.
And still today, I see a lot of clients who are, whatever health issue they're dealing with, they're very overwhelmed with it. And you're right. They're searching for like the perfect modality to help themselves, and they're putting so many things into the box instead of just doing it like an easier way. Like I've learned over the years, sleep is crucial. Just being able to sleep all night, which we don't do, and dealing with your stress, and just also figuring out, giving yourself this space to figure out what you want in your life. That's a huge one. Where I think we're told you should do this or you should do that, right? And we never give ourselves that space to really find what fills us up at the heart level, or, what's our purpose or our passion. I mean, I never had that until today. And now I get to do what I love, but it was really overwhelming. Like, what the hell am I going to do with my life now? So,
and sometimes I was just mentioning to you that I was at Gabby's event, and this woman got up, and when you've been doing this work so much, you kind of forget what it's like in the beginning. And she said, it really stuck with me, and I think about it like often. And she said, what if when I'm sitting with myself, I don't even know if it's me or who I am? Like, is it me that's talking, or is it someone else? Like what you're saying, you should do this, and then like you can't, sometimes it's hard to even sit with yourself in that silence and realize, wow, I don't even know who I am. And how do you get out of that once you realize it?
That's powerful. Like that's, I think, a really big issue these days, because most of us don't know where we're going and what we want, and because we haven't allowed ourselves that opportunity to sit with ourselves enough, or to find someone like an energy healer. I'm really into that, to clear out the old thought patterns and things that are in your way that aren't serving you, so you can get to that place. So you can sit with yourself and go, wow, it's okay to just sit down and, be silent and not have to be going and doing constantly, even though for my whole life, everyone said you got to be productive and you have to be doing X, Y, and Z. But that's a huge one. I mean, and then I feel the same way. I didn't know who I was at that time. I actually didn't really know who I was until recently.
But that's the thing. It's like, that's why we have so many philosophers from centuries, because that's the question that everyone wants to ask in life, if they actually sit down and think about it.
And are we happy?
Yeah.
Are we happy? Or do we have connection? Do we have intimacy in our life? Do we have a community? I mean, the world is like moving way too fast, and that is a problem with health issues, cancer, diseases, autoimmune stuff. It's just everything is moving way too fast, and we gotta change. We gotta stop that and be able to like hang back and be okay with it. I think for health, that's the biggest thing too.
Yeah. Do you think, I mean, I know that there's so many different reasons why someone could get cancer, and it could be emotion. I mean, it's like tenfold, right?
Yeah.
But it's really our environment too.
Yeah.
Do you think that it's always more complicated than we think? Like it's not just from the environment, or can it? Yeah.
It is. It is. It is from the environment. It is from like our toxic mind. It is. That's a huge one. The stress in the mind. When you don't love yourself and you don't take care of yourself and appreciate who you are, that sets the body into, a fight or flight mode, a fear mode, potentially, like I was saying earlier. That's a huge one. And then the food you eat, right? The environment with just all the chemicals and the toxins that are out there, and not sleeping and giving your body the time to regenerate, rejuvenate. I mean, it's like endless. So a whole factor, like a whole combination of factors needs to come together for us to get cancer. People say, sugar causes cancer, or just, eating meat might cause too much animal protein might cause it. I mean, but there are many factors that come together. And some people have strong immune systems, and they do eat. We know people who drink and eat and smoke, right? Until they're like in their 90s, and they're fine.
So crazy.
And they probably have a really strong immune system. They have a strong community, and they have a strong mindset of who they are, and maybe they're doing what they love. But
which
then
is
there's
so important.
Others of us, who are the opposite. That immune system is huge. I think that was my factor for me. I mean, I never had a strong immune system to fight off anything. And I think I like absorbed a lot of toxins into the organs. And I didn't really know anything about cleansing or detoxing at that time, in my life.
Was it hard for you to talk about it? Like, how long did it take for you to be able to talk about it with people?
Yeah, it did. It did take a long time. I mean, basically, I was diagnosed, and then I ended up getting hypothyroidism after the diagnosis. Right after they radiated my thyroid. So it took like so many doctors and 2 years to get diagnosed with it. I had anxiety, depression, sleep issues. I had 3 miscarriages.
Wow.
So
Before
my first kid, and nobody, then finally this women's OBGYN and anti-aging doctor diagnosed me, and then I got pregnant. So my health issues didn't stop after the cancer. And then I got pregnant with my first, and then I had my second. And then I dabbled in the healthy lifestyle a bit, but I didn't live it like I was when I was diagnosed and trying to get better. And then my husband was diagnosed with cancer 11 years later. And his was
after your diagnosis?
After mine. He had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
What is that?
So it's a different form of lymphatic disease, like I was saying before. He had 2 types, and one was really fast moving. And so he handed himself over to the doctors, and he just believed that they knew everything. So the people in the white coat were the authority. And I, for some reason, don't believe that and never have in my life. So it was really frustrating
for you to watch. And
it was terrible because after he had 2 transplants in a year and a half, like a bone marrow transplant. He did his own transplant and he did a donor, and his immune system was so compromised. And that's what gave him fungal pneumonia. And then he passed away from that.
From pneumonia?
And it wasn't really the cancer, it was the pneumonia. And he was 45. And then I had a 10 and a 7-year-old at home, and I was like,
oh my God.
So then I was like petrified because he was the breadwinner. I wasn't. Excuse me. And then I was
how long ago was this?
This was 12 years now. Can't believe it's been that long. And then I thought these girls are automatically going to think they're going to get cancer. So there was so
you have 2
much,
girls.
so much trauma we were traumatized. And I was really traumatized from mine, from his, and my life in general. And then the two of them. And so I went back to school to get certified as an integrative nutritionist, holistic
Yeah.
nutritionist in Eastern and Western modalities. Like, it was great. Ayurvedic, Chinese, and, you know, indigenous diets and supplements and herbal remedies. It was so awesome. And just for us, the three of us, to like get us healthy,
Aw.
went back to figure out how to deal with trauma and PTSD for them. And then I got hired by Cafe Gratitude when I
Yeah, I saw
graduated.
that. Oh
So
my
that's kind of how
gosh.
my career started. I didn't
How
really
did
think
you
I was going to
find?
do this for a living.
Yeah.
And then they asked me to do a cleanse for them, put a cleanse together. And a friend of mine brought them down from San Francisco.
I love Matthew and Tercy. They officiated my wedding.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my
I
God.
love
What
them
a
so
small world.
much. Yeah.
They're amazing. Yeah.
That's so cool. So right after I want to go back to how you
Yes.
even gained up the courage after going through all that to just keep going, and what helped you?
You know, I think I'm a complete seeker. And growing up, I always felt like I knew in my gut that life, like I said earlier, could be better. It had to be better. Like, I needed to make it. I'm just I'm an Aries, and I don't know if I just have a drive to like find the answer to everything. So I think I've always had that in me. And so that was part of it. Um, and I really didn't want to go out of this lifetime not living the best life I could.
Yeah.
And I knew that I was going to persevere through this. So there was like this gut feeling in me that was like, I'm going to find the answers. So,
Oh my gosh.
and I think, living in fear your whole life is not fun. And I didn't want to live in fear anymore. So it was time to change that. It was like so detrimental to everything around me, like just my relationships and not just me, and my relationships with my girls.
Yeah.
So I think that really probably propelled me, like they propelled me to make a change.
Yeah.
So
What about your parents or your family or the community that you had to support? Did you create a support
yeah,
system?
I had a huge support system. My girls went to this private school in West Hollywood, and it was amazing. I had really great friends, and we had amazing support. So I was super, super lucky. And that's how the job at, Cafe Gratitude came about. And then a year after doing that, the job with M Cafe, which I still
Yeah.
do, their healthy eating program. So I had known all these people that was part of my community. And then the new owners of Erewhon asked me to put a cleanse together for
Oh
them.
my
So
gosh.
someone in my community introduced me to them. So it was like all about, knowing the people that you do who are doing really great things and are on the same path you are. So it was pretty amazing. It's like
Yeah.
I have to pinch myself. I mean,
That's
it's
so great.
really crazy that I get to sit here and talk to you about this, and I get to do this for a living, because when you touch people's lives, as you know, and you help one person out there,
Yeah.
it's pretty euphoric.
It's all worth it. Yeah. Wow. So you mentioned that you have a fiance.
Yes.
So when did you meet him?
It's been a while. So it's been probably 9 years I've been with him. And he
That's
has two
amazing.
sons who are
Aw.
22 and 25. And he also was someone who propelled me to do this work, because he just said, I want someone in my life that is self-sufficient. And I had been taken care of by my husband, it
Yeah.
was like, and I was looking for another man to take care of me. And I realized that isn't really me at the end of the day. So when he said that, and I wasn't the happiest at that time when he said that, but he did. He forced me to go out and build a business for myself and build something that I was passionate about. He didn't want someone just sitting home waiting for him.
Yeah.
He wanted someone who did have a passion and a purpose in their life, and who could, I think, generate some happiness, really. So he also was a huge proponent in me doing this. And it's been a long, it's not easy, these
No,
things, as you
yeah.
know, to start your own business and to try to figure out how to make money at this is a whole
Yeah.
different ball game.
Yeah.
And also just figure out, I work 7 days a week. It's not really work because it's what I love, but
You're
just
on all the
all the
time.
time,
Yeah. I know.
just
I was thinking like so you're doing your
cleanse. So
cleanses.
yeah, now I created a soup cleanse 3 years ago that we cook, and I have a staff and an operations manager who runs it, but she's great. And we 45 people, like every other week, we service and we cook soups and salads and tonics and lattes and
Wow.
fermented veggies, and we do this whole program, and we infuse it with energy and love.
How long is the program?
It's 5 days.
And are there people that do it like
Multiple times.
like
Yes.
every time you offer it?
Almost. I mean, not quite.
Yeah.
But we have quite a few people who come back, and because then they get tired of it. They do.
Yeah.
We change up the menu 4 times a year, but they still get a little
So
tired.
it's every other week?
It's every other week because
Wow.
it's so much work to produce.
Yeah.
And so it's like 90 people a month. But January we do 3 weeks in a row because
Oh
it's
my
like a
gosh.
big cleansing month. But it's not really about starvation or deprivation,
Yeah.
or it's not really about weight loss. It's just really about how do we get these people to eat real healthy food,
Yeah.
lower the inflammation. In 5 days, you can change your body. You can you definitely can feel better and regenerate cells. And so people can get that feeling of more energy and just better sleep. And they definitely will lose weight. It's very heavily vegan, plant-based, because that's more how I eat, but I do eat a little animal protein. So we do have a bone broth on it
Cool.
in the morning. So we have like a tonic, it's a gut drink. Then we have a homemade protein bar, and then we have a bone broth with extra collagen powder.
Ooh.
And we have salads 3 days a week with 2 dressings, and we offer hemp seeds and pumpkin seeds. And then we do fermented veggies in the afternoon and soups in the night and lattes after that. So it's a lot of food.
It's a lot. Yeah.
So it's just about like teaching
Getting
these
the
people
nutrients.
to,
Yeah.
exactly.
So you mentioned earlier that you had just healed your Hashimotos.
Yes.
But then you were saying, so right after so tell me all about the thyroid. Because
yes, it's
also
a big
I've
one.
heard that when you're pregnant, it could go into remission. So did
Yes.
that happen for you or?
It probably did, because I did feel good. But I was on medication when I was pregnant, thyroid medication. But after having my first daughter, then I was diagnosed with the Hashimotos. So the thyroid issue was happening, and then,
But they had already cut your thyroid?
no, they just diagnosed me with blood work as hypothyroidism. And then with the Hashimotos, they diagnosed me. It took a while as well because they don't test for antibodies, but I wasn't feeling great on the medication afterwards. When your body goes through a stress, even a good stress, that's when like the autoimmune stuff can kick in.
Yeah.
So I had that, was dealing with that for 21 years.
Wow.
I know. And then 2 years ago, I read Anthony Williams' first book on like mysteries of, mystery illnesses. What's the root cause of the mystery illnesses? And of course, that was one of them. Hashimoto's is the fastest growing autoimmune disease today. And
Does he say why?
Basically, yes, he does. It's like, like I was saying, when I was a kid, I had strep throat, tonsillitis, mono, shingles. I had canker sores, like herpes, everything. Those are viral, and chickenpox. And when you have viruses and then you take antibiotics, it doesn't get rid of the virus. So
Wow.
the virus just lays dormant. It goes into your organs because it loves other toxins. And the first place it a lot of times goes is your thyroid, because it's right here where your tonsils and your strep throat and all that. So it goes into your thyroid, goes into your liver, goes into all different organs. But the thyroid gets affected and impacted really huge. Another thing is, growing up in my day, I'm not sure about yours, but maybe, but it was like, you could be seen but not heard. So you couldn't really express yourself.
Yeah,
I think that's another, when you're just like confined to not being able to really express how you feel, the thyroid gets affected as well. Like, so it's an emotional component as well as a physical and actual toxicity. So he talks about that. And he basically says that if you lower your toxin load, whether it's viral or, the pathogens or even some bacteria in your body, fungal, you can heal. Wow. And I was like, wow. And he's like, if you had Epstein-Barr at some point, that's.
I had that, or I have it.
I know everybody I talked to has had some form of Epstein-Barr, and he says there's many different forms of them. So I was like, oh my God. So it was when he was actually seeing people, talking to people on the phone. And so I finished the book on a Sunday. I emailed him that night, and I had a session with him that week. And I was just like, oh my God. So he said, you don't tell them you had Hashimoto's, hypothyroidism, cancer, all these illnesses. You just sign up with your phone number, give them your credit card.
Oh my God.
It's crazy. And he goes, you have Epstein-Barr in your thyroid and in your liver. And he said, if you don't do something about it, you're going to have a serious health issue.
Whoa.
And it was weird. What I remember 2 years ago at that time, it didn't faze me, that serious health issue, which was weird. But he goes like, let's, this is the protocol. So I was like, okay, I'm there. I'm going to do it. And I did it for 3 months. I did it actually for a year. He said it was going to take 6 months to a year because he said 21 years on medication and so many years. Mm-hmm. So I did it for 3 months and I went into hyperthyroid mode because I was still on thyroid medication. And my doctor started to wean me off because hyperthyroidism wasn't so great for me because I'm already skinny in the face. I looked awful. I was gaunt. My metabolism was like really moving really fast. I felt great, but so I felt great really quickly. And then I weaned off. And so I haven't been on for it'll be almost 2 years in like May.
Wow. So, what was your protocol? I'm sure it's different for
yeah, it is. And I became part of his practitioners group.
That's
it was really fun
cool.
for a year. And he did like 10 phone calls from people all over the world. It was so fascinating. He's not doing that anymore, which is such a bummer. But I heard all different modalities and how to treat people, whether it's all the different ailments out there. But mine was the bioactive silver, which is antimicrobial and bacterial and viral. It was like, he had me doing like, I think it was 2 teaspoons twice a day in water. It doesn't taste like anything.
Yeah.
He's really picky about supplements. So he had me on a really like concentrated ionized zinc, 2 droppers twice a day. He had me on 4,000 milligrams of ester C from Pure Encapsulations, which is a brand I love, and lysine. So I did that twice a day. I split it up 2,000. A little 2 weeks of licorice root extract. It's like alcohol free from Nature's Answer, which helps adrenals and also is a little bit antiviral related. So I did that 2 weeks on and 1 week off. And then I did a little bit of couple drops of this iodine that was really strong as well. I'm trying to think if there was anything else. It was so easy compared to what I've dabbled in with all these modalities and supplements. And spirulina, spirulina, barley juice extract powder. So to detox and B12, that was it.
And you did that for a year?
I did that for a solid year. I never felt better in my life.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't even know what feeling good felt like. And then I was like, holy crap, I felt great. And then now I just I just do the B12 and the zinc and the spirulina. And
that's it.
I feel amazing. Like
that's
my life kind of went like reverted.
Yeah.
Like I don't feel my age.
Wow, you don't look your age. Well, I don't know what your age is, but I know that you don't. I know
you're not supposed to tell your age.
Yeah,
but I've been helping clients with all of this, and the herbal remedies have been around for centuries. So when you find really great ones that work really fast and well, that's my goal.
Yeah,
is to get people well fast, not to have them be on these meds forever.
Yeah,
and to take some herbal remedies like one thing at a time, not like a whole combination of things because you don't know what's working and what isn't.
Yeah, I know we like talk about it all the time at the Fullest, where we go to Air One, and it's like our favorite thing to do. But really, I mean, there's so many herbs just like piled into the Vitamix, and you don't know.
Yeah.
It's fun to eat here and there, but not something you want to consume every day if you don't know what you need.
Yeah, you go to a tonic bar and you come out with, you know, a tonic with all the different like lion's mane and deer antler, right? And all these things. And you're like, sometimes you feel good and sometimes you might not feel good, but you don't know.
Mm-hmm. It's so funny.
And then you go and drink that once. And then what is that really going to do for you?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, because it's like $20 for the drink, right?
Exactly.
So it's like, how can I afford this?
I know. Your daughters are so lucky to have someone like you.
I don't think they always think that.
No. No. Are they interested in health and wellness?
They are. They dabble in it. They also fight me on it a bit because they're just like, Mom, you're just like overkill. Yeah. And it's true. With that personality of an Aries, I'm like, I'm a Ram. So, but I try to like help them with especially the mental part. I think that's been the biggest thing. Like I've been working with energy healers for 10 years and they changed my life. I mean, I did the traditional therapy for 13, but the energy thing had changed my life in every way. I was able to like really release those subconscious thought patterns that were really doing a number on me. And it was great to be able to do that for them earlier in their life than to wait till they were older. Yeah. But they don't want to do the certain supplements things, totally.
I know. I mean, I find myself like looking at my supplements in the morning and I'm like, I really just I want to rebel and like not take them because it's just so many. But
I agree. I think we need a break.
I know. Sometimes it's nice to take a break. Like you feel good, but then it's nice to go back to them too.
There was a study that I don't know if it's really new, but it was from Duke University. And they said that almost 50% of the supplements out there do not have what they say they have on that bottle. That's what's scary. And also we have, I don't know if it's national or if it's just California, but I think it might be national. The FDA has until 2019 for supplement companies to actually really put what's on there.
Wow. So the FDA is going to approve some of them? Or
I'm not, maybe I got that wrong with the FDA, but it's definitely they have this law in place that basically says they have until then to really put what's on the bottle. So that's what makes me worried. Like these people come in with tons of supplements and it almost is better, like you're saying, you know, just to not take anything and just try to go back and eat real food. Yeah. Unless there's something in particular that's going on. Mm-hmm. So I think it could be doing a disservice to most people.
Yeah. I think that's why a lot of people are integrative functional medicine doctors like Metagenx, I think, because it's
a good product. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's certain products out there that are, you know, there are a lot of these products coming from China or someplace that, you know, is being mass produced that isn't so great.
What do you think about that? Herbs coming from China?
They're not good.
No.
No. I mean, you just don't know what the toxic levels are in them. So it's real, you know, in terms of, we really got to know like people who are in this business that have been doing it, who really are high quality, who really have that feeling of like what you guys do is like, I really want to help. It's just like, I don't want to just make money here. Yeah. It's a really huge business. Yeah. I mean, Gaia is a perfect example for their fabulous products. And Hawaiian spirulina they've been doing it for 30 years. And there's like the pure encapsulation, the Metagenx, the thorns, you know, there's people out there that renew life and that have been doing it for a long time, or even the products that are food-based too. They're really good. Some of those like Mega what? Foods or even Innate Response. It's kind of not a big, huge brand, but an amazing brand. So
I'll have to look into them. So do you work with people privately?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I love that. That's one of my favorite things is because when I get to spend time with somebody like an hour and a half, easily I like tap into their energy and I realize like after an hour and a half, they usually tell me what's wrong with them. Yeah. I don't even need to like pull it out of them really. They usually say, this is my life. this is what's been going on. And then they tell me exactly and what's wrong. And it's like, wow, you know what's wrong. You walked
Yeah.
in not knowing what was wrong, but you walk out going, they totally have the power and they know what's wrong with them. And it's so beautiful. And it's easy to help when you get to that root level of, especially with what I've learned with all the,
Yeah, you have
the
so
herbal
much
stuff and
knowledge
the-
under your belt. I'm so happy that you're like still helping others because
Yeah.
I'm sure it can get exhausting.
It's a little exhausting.
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, when you love it, it's not
Yeah.
as exhausting. But yeah, no, I do. I see clients one-on-one, and the cleansers, I really will reach out to them during the week and text with them, and they have me there if they need me with M Cafe or My Cleanse,
Oh,
or
cool.
I have a 21-day do-it-yourself online cleanse.
Online cleanse, yeah.
And so they have me for that. So I definitely, I love being able to like give a little bit of advice, because I know for me, it was so many years of not knowing which direction to turn and not knowing which supplements to take and not knowing why my mindset was blocking me, and it was just, I've lived it
Yeah.
most of my life. I wasn't happy, and I was anxious and depressed and sleep deprived and had a lot of health issues. So I
Yeah.
can relate.
Yeah, which is so important.
Yeah,
Well, thank you so much. It was so fun talking with you.
it was fun.
And thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Really, I'm honored always.
Thank you.